So in the mid 2000s, when the market started changing and making a name for ourselves in the real estate space, right? We were at a big box brokerage, and the market shifted. 2007 was like my first year in the business full time, and had like 13 sales that year. It was a tougher year, obviously my first year. So it was like helping people out through that market. And the second year, 2008, was when everything started shifting, right? And it was like the end of 2007 that we saw this shift really kind of come to a screeching halt. And then all of a sudden, 2008 began the short sells, right? And very similarly to certain elements of that market we're seeing right now, depending on when people bought and interest rates. I've had a couple of consults here in the last couple of weeks, and I'm talking to a lot of people right now, more than just a couple consults. It's been more than we've had in per quarter in like ever. 2 to 3 a day right now. Working with you all to figure out what does holding look like versus selling, and what are the questions that you need to be asking yourselves, and how's it going to show up? Who do you need in your corner in order to make these decisions, right? It's like these are all the things that I can help you with to kind of think through it from a 10,000 foot view. Because we do sales, because we do management, gives me, in my opinion, it just gives me a better place to come from, because either way, we're going to be able to help you, but I can really open it up and start asking harder questions, which usually ends up being you're going to leave with more questions than you start with. So what we're looking at now is people that bought after 2022, interest rates went up, right? They were in the threes, and then all of a sudden they jump up to 6, 7%. And for those that got into the market, their interest rates are higher. And if they came to the table with little to no money down, 3.5 to 5% down, maybe VA loans, right? So VA loans, they stack all the expenses on the back of the loans. They package it all in there. That's why there's zero down loans. Really, with VA loans, they're a very, very good product. But when interest rates are this high or much higher and they jump up so fast, the exit strategy changes. It's like at this stage, if you're buying a house that's at $450,000 and your mortgage payment is going to be $2,700 before HOA, before management fees, before any of these costs, and rents in the area are now only $1,900 versus, again, this time last year, maybe $2,250, $2,300. We have seen a pretty decent drop in rents for some areas. And across the board, we've seen a drop in rents. But let's say now that's what you have to work with. At what stage do you go, all right, what do I do? I bought the house at X, it's now worth this, right? To get things sold in this market, we're starting to see it's still a buyer's market in a way. It's pretty balanced. However, buyers do hold the cards when it comes to how are they negotiating? What are they asking for? All of these things. This is all, what's happening in this market right now at certain price points. The higher price points, there isn't not as much concession given by the sellers to the buyers. But on the more entry-level pricing, entry-level homes, that stuff is where sellers are coming to the table. Paying a buyer is the way it sounds and feels sometimes to some of our sellers to purchase the property through concessions to help them buy their rate down and pay for the cost of their mortgage because it is higher. So fast track to where we're at right now. Now this person has purchased that property 3 years ago. Their mortgage payment is at $2,700. The rents are $1,900. What do? Right? All in, they're going to be negative every month, $1,000. Is that worth it? Is it worth carrying that property right now and saying, all right, the market will turn around and things will shift and I'll get back into it? What would we count on before? Appreciation, right? Appreciation had been strong for a long time and has been just amazing in Arizona and nationwide for the most part, right? This year hasn't been, right? We're running at like 1%. What does 1% look like for the next few years? And is that basically help you see a path forward, or does it make it harder to say, wait, I'm going to drop $1,000 a month in this property, $12,000 a year, and I might not even make it back in appreciation, right? That's something to think about. I remember one of the first properties I bought, it was in 2006. It was my first investment property, and I was negative $200 a month at my toughest times, right? Because the HOA compounded because of this, because of this, because of this. And $200 was a tough ask for me to continue to carry, right? But $1,000, that's a different conversation, right? So I think it becomes what does that play look like? Therefore, leading more to short sales and the conversation of if you can't afford to carry the property anymore and you have to move, you have to get out of it. What is the next option? Therefore, we'll be seeing more short sales. I don't think the market's going to come back fast enough to be able to support the price points because some people have to sell, so they're dropping their pricing, right? And that's going to continue to bring that market down a little bit until the buyers really come back and start purchasing again. So let's see what happens. But again, that short sale market, if you have questions about what it is, we had based our whole business back in the day on the short sale market. It's just processes and systems and getting stuff to the banks and negotiating with them. And it's a helpful process for people that need it, but it's also good to know what your rights are when it comes to your mortgages and know what your options are. If you have questions or you know somebody that would like to talk more about this, feel free to hit us up and be more than happy to talk you through it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful and look forward to connecting again next week. See ya.